Completely new technology in Medicovi's hydrodynamic water-filled orthopedic insoles immediately helped most diabetics with neuropathy in feet and legs. Simple and fast help with a very big problem. It is known that a diminished sense of feeling caused by neuropathy cannot be treated with medicine. Pains and whirling sensations in feet and legs can be treated with a mild analgesic together with a mild sedative. The new patented technology, which is based on the hydrodynamic water-filled insoles, opened up new paths. A large hydraulic pressure in the water forces the sole of the foot into a constant massaging movement. The movement activates the cell of the sole in a new way, which increases the strength of the carrying and protective cells and increases the functionality of the nerves. This new technology will be able to help a lot of diabetics with the neuropathic problems in feet and legs, as for example with Lotte, Stefan and Karsten. Lotte was diagnosed with diabetes in 1994. Lotte has had neuropathy in feet and legs for many years, to which she suffered great unrest in the legs during night, interrupting her sleep. Additionally, Lotte has had an infection in between two forefoot bones, which, as she explains, hurt like a knife stabbing the foot. Through the local diabetic community, Lotte was offered to try Medicovi's new hydrodynamic water-filled insoles. Since I had tried everything, I naturally said yes, explains Lotte, and I do not regret it. Already the following week, the pain in the forefoot was gone and the unrest in the legs was quickly receding. And after 3 weeks, the unrest was completely gone and I sleep well. One day, when I was changing shoes, I forgot the insoles, explains Lotte and continues. I did not sleep that night. I will never forget the insoles again. Additionally, my balance has become better. I can warmly recommend these insoles and they are very comfortable to walk in. Stefan was diagnosed with diabetes 2 years ago. Stefan could not feel his toe. It was like 2 lumps in the front of the shoe, explains Stefan, and then I had so cold feet at night that I had great trouble sleeping. Already 3 days after I started using the hydrodynamic insoles, I gained more feeling in the feet and I could start moving my toes, and there was more warmth in the feet, explains Stefan and continues. Now I can move my toes and I have wonderfully warm feet at night. I can definitely recommend the insoles and they are comfortable to walk in. Karsten was diagnosed with diabetes in 1990 and was found to have neuropathy in feet and legs a few years later. Karsten has, because of this, drop foot, which affects Karsten's gait. Since it was found that I had neuropathy, I have had great problems with the feet, explains Karsten and continues. I have had foot ulcers which did not heal and problems with hard skin and so on. A week ago, I tried insoles by Medicovi, and right from the first second, I felt a great difference. I could immediately maintain my balance when standing on one leg, and now both my posture and gait has been improved, explains Karsten and continues. I have had started to feel my feet again, something I have not been able to for many years. So if there's anyone with the same problems as me, then I would definitely recommend that you at least try the insoles to see how they work for you. The use of shoes is a large part of the reason for the neuropathic problems in feet and legs. Museum Inspector Ph.D. Vivi Andersen, University of Copenhagen and Copenhagen Museum, has studied how the development of shoes has had an influence on the health of the foot in the period 1200 to 1800s. Based on this study, it is evident that most of the known feet-related problems today originates from the 1500s, when we transitioned from the thin skin boot to the durable rim-made shoe, where the sole is so stiff and thick that it could carry a heel. The reason for this technological development's negative consequences for the health of the foot is found in the way that the cells of the sole of the foot absorb glucose. The cells can intake glucose through the effect of insulin and through movement. The insulin works like a catalyst or an initiator. The insulin settles under the cell's membrane's insulin receptors and eventually sends a signal into the cell which makes the cell aware that it should intake glucose immediately. The signal affects the glucose transporters that seek to walk the cell membrane, which they break through and then commence absorbing the glucose. When the glucose transporters are full of glucose, they retreat into the cell again and are included into the inner energy storage of the cell. The cells can in the meantime also intake glucose through movement. If the cell is physically strained and in movement, an enzyme called AMPK is produced inside the cell. The enzyme AMPK works like insulin by provoking the glucose transporters to break through the cell membrane and intake glucose. The enzyme AMPK also initiates a biological process inside the cell, which causes the cell to achieve greater strength and endurance. That is exactly what happens when we, for example, work out in a fitness center, or when the weight of the body rests on the surface of the foot and the sole is subsequently forced into movement. Which means that through physically exercising movements, the cell can intake glucose without the use of insulin and still achieve a greater strength and endurance. We were originally designed to walk barefoot on hard, uneven surfaces. There, the sole of the foot would constantly be forced into a massaging movement by the ground's unevenness. The forced movement of the sole means that the cells are able to take in a significant amount of the necessary energy for the inner strength imparting enzyme AMPK. This will provide the sole of the foot with great strength and added thickness. Before the 1500s, all surfaces were very uneven. Presumably, the use of the thin skin boot will therefore not be unlike going barefoot. At the transition to the rim-made shoe, a drastic change in the energy absorption occurs in the cells of the sole of the foot. This is because the sole of the foot lies passively pressed against the inner stiff bottom of the shoe. This means that the glucose is now delivered to the cells almost exclusively through the influence of insulin, which automatically causes the sole of the foot to become thinner and weaker. If our arm is broken and put in plaster, the supply of glucose to the cells will only be done by means of insulin. Everyone knows that after 3 weeks on plaster, the muscles and tendons of the arm have become weaker and stiffer. It is this drastic change in the energy supplied to the cells of the sole of the foot that is the main reason for the problems we have with feet today. This has clearly been documented through Viva-Lina Anderson's research. It shows how important the movement of the sole of the foot is for the health of the sole. Today we wear shoes on completely flat surfaces. This modern lifestyle means that the sole of the foot, to a large extent, only absorbs the glucose by the influence of insulin. The use of shoes has thus made the sole of the foot strongly insulin dependent. This can have very big consequences for the diabetic. As the regulation of the insulin fails, the cells of the soles will immediately lose strength and capacity. Likewise, the functionality of the nerves will be reduced and possibly stop completely. Additionally, the disease often results in the development of constrictions in the fine blood vessels over time, which reduces or completely stops the blood flow to the cells. This causes further reduction of both the strength of the cells and the function of the nerves. It is the shoe's confinement of the sole of the foot that causes the glucose absorption to become strongly insulin dependent, and also causes the buildup of the constrictions in the blood vessels, which are the main causes for the neuropathic problems in the feet and legs and the risk of developing foot ulcers. This is exactly where the hydrodynamic insole stimulating movements can make a very big difference. The hydrodynamic insole Medicovi D40 is constructed of a soft, pressure-distributing and comfortable EVA upper sole with a water-filled and stimulating pressure wave massage insole underneath. It is a unique patented construction of the water-filled pressure wave massage insole, which through the technically controlled movement of the water provides the great help for the neuropathic problems in the feet and legs. Additionally, the hydrodynamic insole provides a major preventative effect on the development of foot ulcers. Likewise, the insoles are significantly pain-reducing for foot, knee, hip, and back problems. Medicovi's hydrodynamic insoles significantly increases the utilization of the sole's collective energy supply. When the insoles are loaded, a large hydraulic pressure occurs in the water that immediately distributes the pressure load over a much larger area of the sole of the foot, which immediately reduces the pressure to the most stressed area. At the slightest movement of the body, a large movement of water develops, which induces an intense massaging movement of the sole of the foot. The water movement breaks the shoe's confinement of the sole of the foot and forces the cells into so much movement that the cells absorb a larger amount of glucose through the strength-imparting enzyme AMPK. It increases both the strength of the sole of the foot and the function of the nerves. At the same time, the movement constantly moves the body weight around the surface of the foot, as more areas of the surface are forced to participate in the bearing of the body weight, and so that there is more time for the blood circulation to supply the unloaded cells with energy. Dr. Med Finn Boysen Møller, Copenhagen University, and Professor Michael Voigt, Aalborg University, have cooperatively made an assessment of the Medicovi insole's function based on measurements with electronic measurement soles. In the report, Dr. Medfin Boysen-Müller and Professor Michael Voigt defined the general function of the Medicovi insoles as sensory massage, as they define as constantly varied pressure under the sole of the foot, constant stimulation of muscle activity and movement of the foot, and constant awareness of posture and balance, and continues. Sensory massage increases the blood circulation in the feet and legs, and causes a constant and positive variation in the distribution of the load of the feet, knees, hip, and back. We never stand still. We always sway back and forth a little. The bigger the sway, the worse the balance is. If we lean slightly forward, an increase in pressure will occur against the forefoot. The brain's balance center uses this pressure information to initiate the muscle movements that brings the body back to the point of equilibrium. The use of shoes means that the balance center largely receives the information from the sensors in the few small areas on the surface of the foot where the shoe's fixation accumulates the body's load. It is precisely these stressed areas of the sole of the foot, wherein the pressure against the sole of the foot is greatest, that there will be a high probability of the development of neuropathy. If neuropathy occurs, the information to the brain's balance sensor will deteriorate, which automatically reduces the balance, which means that the natural sway becomes larger and one gets tired when walking. In every small movement of the body, water movements in the hydrodynamic insoles affect the sensory nerves in a very large area of the sole of the foot, and thus also a number of sensory nerves not affected by neuropathy. The balance center reacts momentarily to this great impact of the sensory nerves by promptly improving the balance. The development of neuropathy in the exposed areas on the sole of the foot therefore has a significantly lesser impact on the balance with the hydrodynamic insoles. It also means that the most diabetics who have balance problems will immediately gain greater safety with the hydrodynamic insoles. The balance-enhancing feature is a new orthopedic function which can only be achieved with the Medicovi's hydrodynamic insoles. The balance-improving ability of the Medicovi insoles are scientifically confirmed through a study made by the Center of Sensory Motor Interaction, University Aalborg, under the direction of Professor Pascal Madeleine and Professor Overcasting. This scientific study documents the mechanic or automatic, static and dynamic balance-improving ability of the Medicovi insoles. Thus, the hydrodynamic insoles reduce the neuropathic problems in the feet and legs, as the cells in the sole of the foot, by the provoked motion, absorb more glucose via the strength-imparting internal cell enzyme AMPK, which increases both the protective ability of the cells and the function of the nerves. Thus, the motion reduces the sole's dependency on insulin, by increasing the blood circulation, by reducing the pressure load while constantly and simultaneously moving the load on the sole of the foot, and by promptly improving the balance for most. It is this overall multifunction that for the vast majority of diabetics provides a very quick help for neuropathic problems in the feet and legs. Neuropathy is often a late complication for diabetes, and studies have shown that approximately 70% of all diabetic foot ulcers are due to neuropathy. The insoles help with neuropathic problems in the feet and legs, as well as for the prevention of diabetic foot ulcers. Therefore, they seek as much as possible to counteract or delay the problems caused by the development of neuropathy in the sole of the foot. It also means that the sooner you start using the hydrodynamic insoles, the greater the possibility is of limiting the problems. For optimal utilization of the hydrodynamic Medicovi insoles, it is recommended to change the insoles every 6 months. The use of the hydrodynamic Medicovi insoles should not discourage the individual diabetic person from taking responsibility for their feet. This means that the diabetic must constantly check their feet and soles and seek medical help immediately if irregularities occur. This is the first time that you can achieve an immediate help for your neuropathic problems in feet and legs in such a simple and easy way. The hydrodynamic insoles can be bought at www.diabetic.medicovi.com. We thank you for your attention.